was talking the other day about how he feels the way Chelsea have been built with these young players, they're set up to dominate in future years, whoever the manager is. Not to say that the question isn't will Tottenham dominate, but is there a similarity there where Spurs can expect to be in a good position in some way?
Oh, yeah. To a certain, I mean, the theory, yes. The reality, you also got to look at it. There's a relevance to expenditure there as well. So sort of, they've got some serious talent there. But whether they all kind of fulfil their potential is the unknown with all young players. So I think it's why most clubs don't go all young, because they kind of feel like you need some experience or some guiding through that process of players developing. But so it kind of, I think in theory it's probably the way to go, I believe, when you're building a side, but it's not always, unless you have a sheer volume of numbers, which, to be fair, Chelsea do. So if you do, if two or three don't kind of make it through, you've got enough there. I don't think we're in the same boat in terms of numbers. So with us, it would mean that all the ones we've signed are all going to end up fulfilling their potential, and that's the bit of the unknown. I don't think, I think we're probably a little bit different, even though the sort of underlying premise of sort of building from youth is there. I think they're a little bit different in the way they've gone about it.
Young players to an older player. Son's been the talisman for so long for Spurs, but he's 32, Glenn's 33. He's got 3 Premier League goals this season. I know he missed a few chances recently, that more than that. But should our expectations of what he can achieve now with his age?
Yeah. I mean, I think there were questions about Mo maybe a year or so ago as well. I'd be wary about doing that. Go for it. Might help me if you write him off. Look, I don't get that sense. I still feel like he's from a physical output and kind of the quality he has, and certainly from a mentality point of view, I haven't seen. And what I do know is, just through my experience, the end comes pretty quickly. Like it's not falling off a cliff, but you find with a lot of great players that all of a sudden it's gone from bang to bang. It's not a kind of slow deterioration. So I don't see that in Sonny. I still think Sonny's got a hell of a lot of quality, and from a physical standpoint, the way he looks after himself, I don't see his abilities diminishing just due to the age factor at the moment. I don't see that. Again, you kind of weigh up the output of it, and he's not at the level so far this year that he has been in previous years, but that's a pretty high standard he's had in the past. Can he get there this year? I still think he can, yeah. And I think a lot of that's just, consistent game time. Because again, he's had a bit of a disruptive sort of start this year where, he's had a couple of setbacks where he hasn't played regularly. And I think with Sonny, what you find is the more regularly he plays, the more kind of the increase in that output. So the answer is no, I don't think so. And I'd be wary about writing him off if I was. We certainly haven't if you were external, but like I said, go for it.
And just finally, you took Bournemouth's great pressing striker off them in the summer, Dominic Solanke, but they placed him with a player who seems to have a similar kind of energy to Don Well. And the last game against Wolves, I think he had 3 penalties. Yeah. Just specifically for Fraser going into this game, how wary do you have to be about Evanilson's?
Yeah, no, look, he's. But I think that's the beauty of having an identity, right? So we talk a lot about clubs having an identity and a philosophy, and people kind of scoff at it and but it does help you when you're trying to identify players. Like, so I think they knew exactly what they were looking for when they lost Dom, and it makes it easier. So you look at Evanilson and you look at his profile, and he's obviously somebody that's well known. So you kind of know when you're playing Bournemouth now that irrespective of who they sign, they're going to have those attributes. They're going to press from the front. They're going to be aggressive, and so irrespective. I mean, it's not about Fraser. It's about, like I said, when you're playing a team like Bournemouth now, you're kind of, okay, you know what you're going to get, irrespective if Evanilson was injured and they played with, I don't know, with Clivert or whoever else up front, that would be the instructions. So you've got to be wary of it. So it comes down to providing information for the team as to, what to expect. And, we definitely expect they're going to be aggressive. Evanilson sort of leads that at the front, and that's the team they are.
Matt and Shane, do you wish you'd set off the season with a bigger squad? I mean, you say you can't legislate for injuries, but it almost feels like you can these days.
Yeah. It just depends. I mean, a bigger squad with just numbers, no. That's what it comes down to for me. It's about a bigger squad of players who are going to be able to contribute is more important to me. And I don't think, we had the capacity to do that. Like I said, we're 3 transfer windows into rebuilding a team, rebuilding a squad, rebuilding a playing style. So I think we'll get to that point, and that's what we need to keep sort of reinforcing, where we have a squad and a group of players who can compete, in the elite European competitions and domestically. And look, some of it this year's been unfortunate. I mean, it's not just injuries, like the soft tissue injuries. Obviously, we've got 3 at the moment, but the others like, Vic and Romero and illnesses and suspensions and, you just can't legislate for. You just don't, like I said, they always happen, but you kind of hope that they're spread out a bit more than what they have been for us. But there's no doubt we've still got work to do with the squad and the team, which I don't think would be surprising to anyone.
How many would you like in January? Is it possible to exit them?
Because January is it's a bit tricky. And like I said, a lot of that will depend on sort of, I know, it's only 3 weeks away, but there's a lot that's going to happen in this 3 weeks around sort of, who we get back in that time, where we sit from a sort of health point of view of the squad in at the beginning of January. Like I said, January is a tricky one. You don't really see, and I wouldn't expect us to do too many significant things in January. But if we're kind of, say in January 1, we're exactly the same position we are now with 9 players out, I reckon we'd be doing something.
John? And you said that Dom is still not quite 100%. I imagine tomorrow, I'm sure he wants to play every single game, but I imagine tomorrow he's desperate to start and play with full part.
Yeah, I'm hoping that extra percentage comes from just him getting back. And look, like I said, he wanted to play on the weekend too, but he couldn't get out of his car, let alone run around a pitch. So yeah, look, hopefully, like I said, he'll get through training today, and again, we've got another 24 hours or more to game time, and yeah, I'm sure I know how how closely connected he feels with Bournemouth, because it was kind of his way back, into having the career that he wanted. He got it. It was through Bournemouth that he got to move here. He got back in the England squad because all these kind of things. And as I said, his journey of starting at some big clubs and not quite working out. It was Bournemouth the ones who invested in him and worked with him, and so I'm sure he's spent a lot of time there. He's keen to get back there, and I'm sure he wants to do well. Not because he wants to hurt them, but because he wants to sort of show them that, everything they've invested in him, he's appreciated.
Can I just say back to Sonny? It often wears his heart on his sleeve in the games. Then you can see exactly what he feels, which I don't know whether it drives you mad on occasion. But you know, what's he like in training? Because he just has this incredible energy and desire. He's
no different. That's the thing with Sonny. Like what you see is pretty much what you get on a daily basis. He's a very, he's a very sort of optimistic and kind of, very energetic, enthusiastic kind of personality. You know when he's down because it stands out like a sore thumb, but that rarely happens. He kind of tackles things on, pretty determinedly and optimistically. So, and that's just who he is. And I think I don't have an issue with that. I think sometimes as a manager you get annoyed when you know players are just putting it on for a crowd, for a reaction when you know it's not really them. Like that annoys me more than somebody just being themselves. And Sonny, like I said, is what you see is what you get. He's exactly the same person on a daily basis.
Just like the table, have you ever seen anything like it? It's remarkable going into December that everyone's grouped up apart.
It's
either an opportunity, isn't it?
That's Australian sport, mate, with salary caps, and that's what you get, you kind of even spread. So it's unusual, probably for the Premier League where you've really only got one team that's kind of separated from the rest. I think it makes it exciting because I think every game's got something on it. It's either euphoria or doom and gloom and kind of nowhere in between. But I get a sense that that's how the season's going to go. Obviously, like I said, Liverpool's a bit of an outlier, but all the other clubs seem to have hit patches where they've got issues, and like you wouldn't think that sort of a team like Villa would go through 6 or 7 games without a win, and it's because of the consistency of their performances. Obviously, Man City now, what they're going through, but most clubs are hitting some really significant rough patches, and so you kind of think, well, it may sort of break open, but I wouldn't sense that probably till into the new year. If it does happen, I think for the next sort of couple of months, I think it's going to be pretty tight.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.